Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I am super excited to share this. This is my fourth and final live presentation of this particular subject. First thing is your business plan done in 1 hour on one page. And most of the people that when I talk to them, I think, Mike, you really don't understand how to do a business plan if you say you can do it in 1 hour on one page. So I say, bring on the challenge. And what we're going to do is we are going to do a 1 hour, one page business plan today. And there's a lot of workshop material. There's a lot of step-by-step stuff. And within each of these situations, I guarantee that it's going to take the complexity and the overwhelm out of a business plan. And oftentimes people think, well, business plan takes, 30, 40 pages. It does in certain situations. And I've written those 30, 40 page business plans. And if you are going to meet with a private equity organization or try to get financing for your business, or try and bring on an angel investor, I can assure you that you need to do the 30 and 40 page business plan. But this one is for the majority of other businesses. It's just going to help crystallize the direction at which your business is. So I also have this. I want to make sure everybody got these. If you did not get these, there's a couple of ebooks that you can download, read through it. There's a whole bunch of fill in the blank stuff. So just a couple of great ebooks. So as we get going, I just want to check in and see, first question, if you can put in the chat box, just where you're from. I know quite a few are from Massachusetts, but I'd love to know where you're from. And as we go through the workshop today, man, that'd be great if it could be a 1 hour, one page workout and a business plan. That'd be awesome. But if you have questions, please put the questions into the chat box. So we've got people from Georgia and Arizona and Chicago, and super exciting to see people from all over the place. And thank you, Michelle from Florida, and Kathy from New Hampshire, and Nigel from California. So pretty cool. Welcome to our event today. And like I said, as we go through the presentation, if you have any questions, please just pop them into the chat box, because I'm going to do a full Q&A. I'll stay as long as you want at the end. Let's turn off our phones. I got two teenage kids, and when we have dinner and we sit around the table, I make sure I take all four phones, I stick them in the other room so that they can be attentive to all the wisdom that Dad may throw on them. At least I think it's wisdom. They probably think otherwise. And the other thing is, this is not a sales pitch. I just want to be able to give this. There's no money, there's no exchange. I'm not going to throw offers out. I will, if there are several ways to work together if that was of interest, but this is just let's get down and dirty, go back to school and crank out some stuff. So 1 hour, one page business plan. And there's 5 particular areas that I'm going to concentrate on. And I believe that these are the 5 most important areas that your business really needs right now. And so I think when it comes to business plans, there's 3 real reasons that you may be thinking about a business plan, or you may be in the process of writing one, or you may not even know that you need one. But reason one is you're typically looking to bring in cash. You're looking to bring an investor on, you're going to a bank, you're trying to figure things out. So reason one would be, I'm looking to bring in cash to my business. Reason 2 is your company may be stuck and you're in this growth pattern and you're certain that a business plan is going to get you to that next level. So the first one is, I'm looking for financing. Second one is, I think I need a business plan to get to the next level. And the third one is, you've heard about a business plan, but you're not really sure where to go, how to do it. So if you can put into the chat box, which one of these 3 areas do you fall into? Are you want to learn about a business plan because you're looking to bring in some cash? Is your business stuck or in trying to grow to the next level? Or are you at a point where, hey, you know what? I really don't even know if I need a business plan, not sure exactly what a business plan is. We got a few 3s over here. Kelly's a 3, brand new to the world of entrepreneurism. I love it. Lauren's just getting started, and Nigel's sort of in that, hey, do I need a plan? And Kathy and Michelle are, business is kind of stuck. Like, how do I get to that next level? And I can promise you that a business plan really doesn't have to be that complicated. And I am going to simplify it. And so I just want to introduce Coach Mike. There's two different Coach Mikes. This was the first Coach Mike. I coached 42 different teams for my kids when they were growing up. It's one of the real benefits in the world of entrepreneurship is, it can often give you some gray hairs, and it can oftentimes give you the flexibility to do cool stuff. But it got to the point, they were in baseball and soccer and basketball and traveling all over the country through these different events. And this coaching world came to an end when my son was 12 years old. I was coaching the basketball team. They were in 8th grade, and the team finished 2-14, came in last. And he came up to me after the event and said, "Dad, you don't really know shit about coaching, do you?" And I'm like, first off, I'm like, you should not swear at me. You should not be swearing. And then secondly, I go, dude, you're right. I hate to tell you. But this world came to an end about age 12 with my kids. And throughout the journey, though, I use a lot of sports analogies because I think that the world of sports is very analogous to running a company. There are different people in different departments. And as your business starts to grow, oftentimes all of these people in these different departments, you may, get to a certain size. You may not even be involved in the hiring. So it gets pretty cool. But, my background is I am an entrepreneur coach and a speaker. And I have been putting in, I say the good, the clean, the pure, the powerful, and the positive ever since I was 17 years old. So I, just putting in different stuff I may not have learned from my parents, stuff I may not have learned at school. So I've been a personal growth junkie. I've built 8 different companies over the last 30 years, and 3 different multi-million-dollar businesses. My largest business grew to 25 million annual sales. I had 50 employees who sold about $250 million in product to the world's leading retailers. And if you've ever sold product to Target and Walmart and Sears and Costco and BJ's, God bless you. It was extremely painful, a phenomenal education experience though. And I've also had so much time to be able to work with banks and investors and things like that. So, I've been around and I've learned a lot. And I've also coached hundreds of entrepreneurs over the years. And when I look at the big picture of call it life or call it business, quite frankly, there's only 2 ways to learn stuff, right? It's your experience or someone else's. And if it's your experience, it usually hurts more, costs more, and takes longer. And so I'm hoping that the things that we can go through today are going to help your business get to that next level. And I've had some big wins over my career, some crushing defeats. I've done, I started all of my companies from scratch. 6 of the businesses I did start with my wife. So there's a new little wrinkle that you can throw into the complexity of running a business. And wherever you're at right now, I've been there. And not only have I been there, I've also worked with hundreds of other entrepreneurs that are trying to get to that next level. Unless you're running a $100 million business, haven't been there yet. But the journey is the same. It can be super challenging when you're going through it. So what I'd like you to do now is kind of visualize that day when your business is giving you the things that you would hoped it was going to give you when you started. The financial freedom, the fun, the time freedom, the feeling of pride when you get to build something and start it from scratch. It can be glorious, but it can also be frustrating. And so this is my way of presenting an agenda. So our ride today, I'm a hardcore mountain bike person. And so this is my way of doing the agenda. So first question, why do we need a business plan? There's a series of reasons. I'm going to go in and I'm going to simplify the whole concept of a business plan. And then we're going to focus on 5 primary areas within the plan. And then ultimately, we're going to fill in, along the journey, the business plan template, and then we're going to get to some Q&A. So if we're ready to go, I'm ready to go. First question, why do I need a business plan? And oftentimes the philosophy or the theory is that I really only need a plan if I'm going to get financing. I'm going to work with a bank. I'm going to bring an investor onto my business. And I have to throw out the bullshit meter on that one, because that is a fallacy. Absolutely not true. I think the business plan does some amazing, amazing things for any business at any size. Now, you could be a startup and you're just coming up with an idea to build a business. You could have been running companies for 30 years. But nonetheless, there are a lot of reasons to build a business plan. There's 14 reasons I put this together. I'm only going to talk about 5 today. So number one and single most important is, if you are trying to build a business, you cannot build that business to a certain level without a great team. And this is why I use the analogy for sports. You know, it's so essential to have your team. Your team is absolutely everything. Number 2 is, when you're writing a business plan, you go through the process of really analyzing your competition. Who are they? What do they do? And what are their price points? Just really trying to figure that out. The third thing is, everyone on the planet is not your customer. News flash. Oftentimes people think, well, you know, whatever I do, I have a, you know, pretty much anyone can buy my services. Guess what? You can't. Everybody is not your customer. And so when you work through the process of the plan, you are going to focus down on your target market and really get a good handle on who that target market is. The riches are in the niches. The more that you can become a business of one, you know, no competitors, and no one really has no competitors. But when you can get to that point where you're so laser focused on who you're trying to attract, it makes the entire process of marketing so much simpler. A business plan also helps you pivot. Now, I believe that planning is essential, but oftentimes plans are useless. And the reason I say that is, on March 2020, there are many businesses that probably had a business plan, and all of a sudden it became obsolete and they were forced to pivot. But pivoting from nothing versus pivoting from a strategic plan that's already laid out is night and day. And finally, yes, if you are going to find financing or seek financing for your business, you are going to need a plan. Now, again, like I said, when we go through this isn't going to be the most elaborate business plan, but it is going to be super laser focused for your business. If you're going to the bank to get more funding or a line of credit or something like that, then more financials, especially more financials, are going to be needed. But the business plan that we're going to work on today is very similar to Google Maps. And to me, like, it's just a map. Like, if you're driving from point A to point B, you plug the address in and it takes you there. And the beautiful thing is, if there's traffic, if there's an accident, if there's something wrong with the road, it automatically reroutes you. Now, I'd love to be able to sit here and say that a business plan will automatically reroute you. It will not, but it's a good start. And the other thing is, I think that there are 3 essentials to taking your business to the next level. A lot of it is beyond the scope of today, but one of those is a business plan. And when you have the ability to create this and craft it and have it done on one page, you always have it to look back on, and it's super powerful. So let's simplify the process. Why don't people create business plans? It's because it comes wrapped in a very scary box, and there's a whole bunch of overwhelm to it. And it's like, I got all this stuff, I've heard about business plans, but I don't want to pull my hair out doing it. I'm going to simplify it. Yes, there's a lot that goes into it. I'm not going to make believe that it is not, but it doesn't have to be scary. There's 4 questions that I believe that we need to ask, whether we're writing the business plan or not. Now, this used to be 3 questions. I've added a 4th one after a few years of working with entrepreneurs. But question number 1 is, what problem are we solving? Every single business on earth exists for one reason: to solve a problem. whatever your product is, whatever your service is, it's there to help someone else. It's there to help them out of a challenge, a problem, to make their lives better, to make their lives easier. So number one, what problem are you solving? Who are you solving it for? Talked about this earlier as far as focusing on that niche, that ideal client, that target demographic, ideal customer avatar, however you want to refer to it. But who specifically are you solving this problem for? How are you going to solve it? You know, that's kind of the secret sauce of how you're going to use your service, your product, and help that ideal client. And then ultimately, this is the one that I see more and more the more I work with people. And it boggles my mind sometimes that people are building, you know, multi-million-dollar businesses and still don't have a real handle on how do you keep score. Because there's only one way to go out of business, only one. That's when you run out of cash. And so it's essential to really understand the numbers. So how are you going to keep score? Now, I have this, I'm going to start to talk about the process of simplifying the business plan. And I have this, if you don't have this book, please put your email address in the chat or just put your name and we probably have your email address. And I'll shoot you over the book, but it's a powerful book on goal setting. And there's also a course that I have too, but the point I'm going to make is a business plan is really no different than setting a goal. And when I talk about goals, and when you look holistically at the thing that we do as entrepreneurs, when you look holistically, we're not just business people. We've got all of this other stuff that goes on in our lives. We've got family, we've got friends, we've got finances, we've got health, we've got all of these things that go on. And so my question to the whole group here, and put this down in the chat, and don't be afraid to put down no if you don't have it, but I'm just curious, how many of you have your 2022 goals written down? Not up here, here is good, but do you have your goals written down? And if you do have your goals written down, are they smart? Are they crystal clear? Are they specific to get you to that next level? Because if you have it is very difficult to accidentally succeed. It's very difficult. Like sometimes you hear of these stories where people, oh, this is so successful, they're accidental. No, there's usually a reason why people are successful in each area of our lives, whether it be our health, whether it be our finance, whether it be our business. But my point is with writing the goals down and making those goals smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based, that is the magic that takes your business or your personal goals to that next level. And today, though, we're not going to talk about the holistic approach to goal setting and all this other stuff. Looks like Sharon's got her goals and Richard's got his goals, and you know, people are. It's so essential, and it doesn't have to be that difficult. Javi written down, but not able to write it crystal clear and concise. Guess what? That's so normal. It's hard. So download my book, and you'll absolutely I'll help the process through. But we're just going to talk about business today. And when we talk about SMART goals, and we're getting into the business portion, SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based. And right here is a SMART goal. I will lose 24 pounds over the next 6 months and weigh 134 pounds by 12/31/2023. It checks all of the boxes for a SMART goal. And I will save $20,000 over the next 2 years to take my family to Disney. I will increase my sales by 30%. SMART goals, specific. And in the world of business, it's the same thing. But having the SMART goal is one thing. Creating and taking that goal and also asking these 4 questions, understanding, take the goal and then take it deeper. And today what we're going to do is really a business plan is nothing more than a series of goals, all written down, but you also have to do a little bit of research. You have to ask some questions that you might not have asked. You get to crunch some numbers. So you take the 2 things together. You take your business plan goal, your business goals, you couple them with some questions, and we arrive at a business plan. And so a formal business plan, get very elaborate, right? A formal business plan, it can be big. You know, it can have all these different chapters in it. And like I said, I've written these plans. It's a lot of work. Today, we're not going to need to do that. So let's start to dive in. The one-page business plan is really analogous to the executive summary on one of those big business plans. Now, when you write a big business plan, you typically write your executive summary at the end, right? You go through all the details, all the work, and then you pull out the key ingredients to your business plan and you create the executive summary. That's really what we're doing today. So this isn't all of the specific details we really need to run the business, but it is a phenomenal starting point, and it's going to absolutely help crystallize. Now, I focus on 5 critical areas. My business plan, 5 critical areas. Number 1, and I believe the most important, you know what, I shouldn't say that. They're all important. There's no most. It's kind of like, how do you like one of your children over the others? You can't, they're all special. But each one of these areas is essential. The first is your purpose, your DNA. Why do you do what you do? The second is creating that product roadmap. Like I said, everyone solves a problem with their product or their service. So what is your product roadmap? What's your strategic marketing plan? And I use strategic marketing plan in the sense of taking your product and introducing it to your ideal client, your target market. So it's kind of like dating. It's like you've got this beautiful product or service, and you've got this target market over here, and all the rest of strategic marketing is how do I introduce my product to that ideal client? And that's strategic marketing. Your teammates, the people on your team, and oftentimes, I talk with solopreneurs like, I don't have a team. Yes, you do. Your team may not be a direct employee, but all of the people that you interact with, all of the people that are part of your potentially your advisors or your subcontractors for your business. Like if you have a bookkeeper, they're part of your team. It's essential to be able to share the goals and the strategy with your team. And then ultimately the numbers. We got to crunch numbers. We got to keep score. Think about how fun it would be to, I usually say, I'm from New England, and I usually say New England Patriots when they're in the Super Bowl, which they're usually in the Super Bowl most years. They're not going to be there this year. But how fun would it be to watch a football game and they don't keep score? Just keep running back and forth and whacking into each other. Not fun. So you got to keep score. And there are a whole series of areas that you can focus on. And this is another ebook. And if you haven't gotten it, and all you gotta do is put the information in the chat box, we'll get it out to you. But this is a whole bunch of areas to focus on. I'm just going to focus on 5 today. And number 1, first step is your DNA, your purpose for being. And there's 3 questions that we need to ask when we're trying to put together our purpose. And it's often called a variety of things, a mission statement, a vision statement, all these other things. I call it your DNA. Like what makes you you? What makes you special? So 3 questions. Who do you help? What do you help them do? And what will be the customer experience? How will they feel after using your product? What will be the breakthrough after using your product? What will be the emotional connection after using your product? So I'm going to introduce you to just a couple of people that I have. This is not a client, but I've worked with her. She's really phenomenal. And she is a writing coach. She helps people write books. In her DNA, her purpose, I help thought leaders, experts, and entrepreneurs create profit-generating books in as little as 90 days so they can become leading authorities, monetize their knowledge, and scale their business beyond 6 figures. It hits all the questions, answers all the questions. And this is this is actually a client of mine, a construction company. We started to work together. He's probably doing $250,000 in sales. He's going to do well over $2 million this year. And he crafted such a beautiful statement. And it's not just, I do construction. I put up buildings. I create sheds. I refinish kitchens. We help families create new and invigorating spaces they feel comfortable in so they can enjoy their kids and loved ones and create opportunities to build stronger relationships and memories with those that they love. Now, he could just be a construction guy. He's not. So here's the question, and here's where the sort of the homework is. So either take the notes, ask your questions, write it down, but think about this question. Who do you help? Your business, your product, your service, who do you help? That's question number 1. And to make this real, I'm going to use the examples of me in my business. The Savage Secrets helps entrepreneurs. Okay, so that's the very first thing. Helps entrepreneurs. Now, I'm not getting into the details of the specifics of my target demographic, but I help entrepreneurs. Second question, what do you help them do? Okay, so if you already have asked the question, who do I help? Now, what do I help them do is number two. And so in my world, the Savage Secrets helps entrepreneurs transform from overwhelmed, frustrated, or stuck into happy, energetic, supremely confident leaders. Now that's question number one. Question number two, and now question number three, what will your customer experience after using your product? Meaning, what is going to be the benefit to them after using your product or your service? It's an absolutely essential question, because when you take and you put it all together, these three questions can really help you define your DNA as an entrepreneur. And so mine is, what will my customer experience? They will have a powerful strategic plan, a strong team, an abundance of time and money, and an unstoppable zest for this beautiful journey called life. Now, I could say I'm an entrepreneur coach. I could say I'm a speaker. When you put it all together, my company helps entrepreneurs transform from overwhelmed, frustrated, or stuck into happy, energetic, supremely confident leaders with a powerful strategic plan, a strong team, an abundance of time and money, and an unstoppable zest for this beautiful journey called life. Because I flat out believe that we are all men and women long before we're businessmen and women. And those things that are most important and most precious to us in our lives rarely have anything to do with business. So that's why I say the beautiful journey called life. So that's step one. That's your DNA as an entrepreneur, your business. Number two, your product roadmap. Now, we all may have products. You may be thinking of a product. You may have an idea for a business. You may have an idea for a product. But we need to talk in specifics. Oftentimes we get bogged down into the, hey, I do this, I do that. No, specifics. What is your product or service? And what is the pricing for your product or service? Number one, question number one, who is my target market or ideal client? And who is my competition? As I said at the beginning, business plan is just a bunch of goals coupled with a bunch of questions. So these are powerful questions as you try and craft and lay out what your plan is for your business, and what are the products or services that you have today, and what may you have tomorrow. Because great entrepreneurs are not thinking just about today. They are thinking about today. They are thinking maybe my wins and losses from yesterday, but they're also thinking about, where am I going to be tomorrow? What's my strategy going forward? So this is just an example of a product roadmap of a client who does home cleaning and just takes care of residential and commercial homes. And so he laid out his specific product portfolio, not just for today, but also as he goes into 2022. So this is essential for each one of our businesses, for us to really write down what our product is specifically today and what do we hope it to be tomorrow. Now, I'm going to use a real life example, one that is, I guess you could call it close to my heart. This happens to be my wife, and she has a business in the nutrition coaching and health coaching and fitness and exercise world, and she's laid out her roadmap. These are the things that go on in her business. She's got health coaching boot camps. She's got memberships, communities. If you are interested in learning about that stuff, put that in the chat as well, and I'll introduce you to her. But she's got some specifics as to what her business is today and where it's going tomorrow. Another example of a company that you may not have heard of, my wife, but I know that you've heard of this company. This is a product roadmap for Apple, and it's done in a graphical representation. And if you look at this roadmap, the things that just came out, the Apple 13 iPhone that everybody knows all about now, that was envisioned many, many years ago. So the date on there on the bottom right-hand corner is 2013. So this product roadmap was created with a 6-year look forward period. So they're not just thinking about the products today, they're thinking about tomorrow. So if you want your business to get to that next level, yeah, kick ass today. Be really great at what you do. Be the best of the best. But also think about what changes may happen in the world and what may happen next and where do I want to take my business. Section number 3 is strategic marketing. And as I mentioned, it's kind of like strategic marketing to me, it's Match.com, right? It's the dating game. What is dating? Well, you got this person, which is, person A, and person A hopes to be attracted to person B, and they try and bring them together with software called Match.com, which, I've never used it, but I guess it's pretty cool. But my point is, if you've got a beautiful product and you're proud of your product or service, who is it that is going to buy that product from you? And the more crystal clear you can get with that question, the better off you're going to be. How will I attract him or her? Who and how will I sell my products? And ultimately, how will I retain my customers? Because I got a newsflash. Getting an order in business stinks. Gee, Mike, what does that mean? It's tongue in cheek. I'm a little bit of a smart ass, but getting an order is great, but getting a customer, getting someone that comes back to you time and time again is the holy grail of business. And people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And the more that they can know, like, and trust you, the better off you're going to be. The old saying is, people do not care how much you know or what your product is until they know how much you care. It's essential. So this is part of the journey of strategic marketing. So the 3 questions, and I want to talk a little bit about detail, but I believe as entrepreneurs, now I'm going to get philosophical, so don't get upset with me, but this is going a little bit off of the business plan, but I believe as entrepreneurs that we live 3 movies simultaneously, and I call this the entrepreneur's trilogy: heart set, mindset, and skill set. And we are the star. We are the movie star of each of these movies. The heart set movie is our health, our relationships, and our happiness. And if you got all 3 of those, guess what? You won the game of life. Check. If you're looking to get to that next level, movie number 2 is mindset, which is what is the stuff that's gone into your brain since birth? What are the things that you're putting into your brain? Number 2, what is the things that motivate you and how do you take action? That's the mindset movie. And then the 3rd movie is skill set. We run businesses, right? So that's what I'm going to focus on today is our skill set. And within the world of skill set, I call this the heartbeat of business. It is your product portfolio, what your customer receives when they pay you, your target market, the focus of your marketing, and ultimately who pays you for your product. Now, many businesses have they have a target market and then they have a consumer. Think about kids that are going to try and go into college. If you run a business where you're training, you're helping families go on that journey of trying to figure out what college do I go to and can I afford it, and SATs and ACTs. The person that's writing the check is probably not the teenager. The teenager is probably sitting in front of a computer screen with some headphones on playing games. I guess I'm stereotyping a little bit, but I've also lived that world. But you could have a different target market, and then ultimately your strategic marketing plan. So this is the heartbeat of business. And today, when you think about strategic marketing, you've got your product portfolio, you've got your target market. Strategic marketing can be extremely complex. There are an endless number of options for you to use, and this is designed to be unreadable. But I can send you this as well if you're interested. But this is all of the options that you have as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, to go and introduce your product to that ideal client. And it's unlimited. We can't do it all. It's overwhelming. And so the secret is pick 3. This is what I would just advise: pick 3. Try and make it simple. So let's finish up. So I just wanted to sort of go through and use another example of a client that runs a Mexican restaurant. In their strategic marketing plan, after they went through and they asked those 3 questions: the who, the how am I going to get them, how am I going to retain them, what are some of the things that I can do to market my business or to introduce my product to my ideal client. And so this is just, and I'm not going to go through all of the specifics here, But this is hire a social media marketing agency, run billboards, Google My Business, invest in that, attend different events with their food truck. So this is just an important step in the journey of crafting your strategic plan. But it all starts with these three questions. Your strategic marketing plan is essential. It is the glue, or I should say, it's the magnet that's going to pull together your beautiful product or service with your target market. Strategic marketing is absolutely essential. So again, those three questions are critical. The fourth piece of the business plan is your team. And it is very difficult to win this game of entrepreneurship without a focused, aligned, committed team. Now, there are many people that are out in the world that will teach you all about culture and all about the different things that you can do to ensure that there's harmony amongst the troops. I can promise you, after running many companies, there are going to be days when there's no harmony. There are going to be days when one of your employees may think you're an idiot. It's just part of the journey. But when you look at those super successful teams, the super successful teams, the super successful entrepreneurs, they weed out the bad and replace it with the good as quickly as humanly possible. When you can get your team lined up and you can get them focused and you can get them all marching in the same direction, it becomes beautiful. That's essential. When there is disruption amongst the ranks, when you can see it, you can even see it in sports teams, when the players aren't getting along and they're all upset, that's not a winning environment. So to make sure that you craft or add that, there are some questions that we want to ask to make sure that we've got the strongest team possible. First one is, who are my teammates? And like I said earlier, your teammates may not just be direct employees. They can be the subcontractors that you work with. They can be the people that are your guides or advisors. They can be part of your, they may not be part of your payroll, but they're part of your team, insurance agencies, things like that. Who are my teammates? What do they do? And how will I inspire them? Those are the types of questions that we need to ask. And quite frankly, we need to ask this all the time. What are those things that I can do to make sure that I put the best team on the field? So when I talk about teammates, this is an example. You may have in all of this stuff, I believe is essential to share with your team. You have your org chart, right? So I'm just using an example. You're the CEO of your business. You've got a few employees. This is 2021. Well, as we go and craft the 2022 plan, we may be adding more employees, right? We may be adding some more different employees. And all of a sudden, you have to start to think about who's on my team, what do they do, and how do they inspire? How do I inspire them? And then ultimately, maybe this is 2023, but I call this the org chart of the future. And that you think about who is your team today, or this was last year, who was your team last year? Who do I envision adding to my team this year? And like I said, this may not necessarily just be employees. These could be subcontractors. These could be virtual assistants. These could be fractional CFOs. This could be fractional marketing directors. It could be a social media agency. It can be anything. But these are new people that are on your team. And when you think about your teammates, 21, 22, 23, this is how at least you get that graphical representation or that visual representation of what your team looks like. Then you get into the next level is, who are they and what do they do? And I have this phenomenal spreadsheet. Yes, I'm patting myself on the back. I love it. If you're interested in this, I can also shoot you that. It's called an activity audit, which is you look at your teammates and you say, all right, what is the percentage of time each of my teammates is spending on each of these activities? Now, this is an eye chart and it's not supposed to be readable, but my point is we've got to get specific. So for example, if you look at your sales and marketing department, when you start out in your business, guess what? You're 100% responsible for everything. It can be a pain in the butt, but that's the way businesses grow. It doesn't matter, yeah, you can start with a partner or you can start with a team of people, but ultimately it's the activity audit helps you as the CEO really grow and figure out, like when we had the org chart of 2022 and 2023, we want to say, okay, on day one, the CEO is doing everything. They're doing everything. And then all of a sudden you say, okay, I'm going to start adding people. So the work that you do as the CEO gets diminished. And a lot of times all of that work gets moved on. You want to hire people based on the skills that you don't have or that you don't like to do. If you don't like to do numbers, great, find someone that does. If you don't like to do digital marketing and social media, great, find someone that does. If you don't like to, create spreadsheets, find someone that does. Your job as the CEO, as the founder, is that of the visionary. But when you start off, you're doing it all. So being able to take a peek at this and look at your business holistically and call it anal. I've been called anal once or twice in my life. I don't care. I like to say I'm detail oriented. There's a lot of ways that you can look at that, but I think that the devil is in the details, and oftentimes. And so when you are able to create this activity audit and share with your people, these are the responsibilities that each of the members of the team has. It's beautiful. It's magical. And so I want to just introduce you to another client that he's up in Canada. He runs a phenomenal business. And basically what we did is he went and he did a better job of creating his org chart of the future than I did. I just had some silly boxes, but he went and he laid it out and he said, this is my team today. And this is the future vision of what I want my team to look like. And not only did he lay that out graphically, he shared it with his players. He shared it with his teammates. And he also crafted some really specific things that he wants to get done. And so it's like total headcount is going to be 16, hire a general manager, identify the standard operating procedures so he is evolving. He is taking his business to the next level. And you can see some really cool things down there. How do I keep my team inspired? We have cookouts with the kids. We bring the family together sometimes. We, have a company Christmas party. There's all sorts of things that we can do to inspire our team. But ultimately, unless you want to play the game of solopreneur forever, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're happy, right? Healthy, great relationships and happy, then that's what counts. And people say, Mike, what do you do? I help entrepreneurs win the hard-hitting emotional and financial roller coaster sport of business so they can live the life of their dreams. Design the dream business that aligns with the values and goals of your dream life. That's why the sign on the back says, actually, which way is it? Over there. Dream big. You don't have to dream super big, but you got to dream. You're not going to accidentally stumble into success. And the final piece of the one-page business plan is the numbers. Show me the numbers. And I find that numbers can oftentimes be as intimidating as just writing a business plan. People are afraid of it because they don't necessarily know how to do it. Most of the passionate entrepreneurs that I have worked with or have had the pleasure of speaking with or had the pleasure of coaching, they start off with a passion. They have something that they love and they want to build their business around it. And they go and they build their business and then they find out they get to a certain point where, all right, now I really don't know what I'm doing because I followed my passion. I've got a phenomenal client, and I think I talk about him a little bit, who he's in construction, he's a general contractor. Just because you can bang a nail and hang some sheetrock does not mean you can run a construction company. Banging a nail and hanging some sheetrock, going out there, meeting people and putting up sheds and windows and doors and new additions to homes is wonderful. But you get to a certain point, if you want to continue to grow, that you got to learn some of these basic fundamentals. And one of the most important ones is we got to keep score. We got to take a peek at the numbers. You don't have to become an accountant. You don't have to become a chief financial officer, but it's your business. You own the numbers, period. You can't push this off. And if you don't understand them, find someone that can help you understand them. In this area of numbers, 3 questions. What do I sell? How many and when? What will my total sales be? And what will be my monthly cash needs? And I'm going to use a really great story. I love this story. This is just an example. This before I get to the story. This is just an example of a way that one of my clients who does the home cleaning stuff, he has his products. We talked about that at the beginning. his products, but he's also looking each quarter, you know, what are his revenue numbers for each quarter and what are his expenses. And oftentimes in the world of business, it's much easier to predict your expenses. Again, if there are tragic situations, if there's a COVID, there's not going to be another COVID. Not in our lifetime. Timeout, never happening again. Well, other stuff can happen. But it's easier to predict expenses than it is to predict, oftentimes, to predict revenue. Now, if you have a recurring revenue business and it's constantly churning and you're getting a monthly check, that's beautiful. That makes forecasting easier. But forecasting revenue, forecasting expenses, both essential. So I want to use an example of Leslie's Lunchbox Company. I want to share with you how absolutely essential it is to understand not just the income statement or balance sheet at the end of a period, but also to understand the cash needs. Because like I said earlier, there's only one way to go out of business. You know, a lot of companies got really messed up when COVID hit. A lot of companies continue to be messed up. A lot of companies are never coming back again. But there was some concessions sometimes that landlords made, and they allowed people to push off rent. There are concessions that banks made. There are concessions that people that were financing made. So if you've got the cash to get through, you can make it. But an income statement is very similar to a report card, right? Remember back in the school days, you go to school, you spend 6 months of doing some stuff, and then you get this piece of paper, digital now, but you get this thing that says, hey, this is your grade. This is the grade you got in each of the subjects, which is great. You know, you need to do that. You need to understand what it is. But more important for us entrepreneurs is cash flow. Cash flow is the heartbeat of your business. And I'm going to use this example. This is not supposed to be, hey, I got to figure out, look at all these numbers, look at the spreadsheet stuff. I use this example with my clients. But you start off the month and you have a starting amount of cash, you bring in some cash, you spend some cash, you have ending cash. Simple, right? Or it's not simple. I'm trying to simplify it. The ending cash that you have at the end of January is the starting cash that you have at the beginning of February. The ending cash that you have in February is the starting cash that you have in March. The ending cash that you have in April is the starting cash you have in May, and so on and so on. My point here is that in Leslie's business, you can see that the cash at the end of the month in certain instances is negative. And so if there isn't an influx of cash, it's going to be extremely difficult for her to continue her business. Now, when you look at the final report card for Leslie's business at the end of 2022, she increased sales, she, simultaneously increased expenses, but she had a profit. So $700,000 in expenses, $60,000 in profit. That's her report card. Here's the magic though. Here's the secret. If Leslie did not understand the months that she was going to be going negative, she would not have been able to continue. She would not have been able to meet payroll. She would not have been able to meet some of her expenses. And so this step right here becomes one of the most essential steps for any business that wants to grow. If your business is having trouble and you're shrinking, you need to do cash flow. If your business is maintaining and just doing the same thing every month, month after month, year after year, don't worry about it because nothing's going to really change. If your business is growing, that's the biggest challenge. That's the time when you really need to understand cash. So my point is, Leslie had, of the 12 months, 9 of those months, she was cash flow negative. So that means she needed cash. She needed cash in these other months. By understanding this, she required throughout the course of the year an additional $75,000 in cash availability, whichever way it comes. It can come through a line of credit with a bank. It can come through your credit card. It can come through a home equity loan. It can come through a bank loan. It can come through a variety. It can come from a rich parent, a rich relative. But you got to understand if your business is growing, in particular, if your business is growing, you got to keep a really good eye on cash. And so this is in section 5 of the one-page business plan. My challenge to you is be specific about the numbers. Be specific about how many of each unit, how many of each service you're going to be selling. Take an estimate on the expenses, whether it be your payroll, whether it be your general overhead. some expenses are fixed, some expenses are variable, meaning they're going to go up and down based on your revenue. But have a plan, because you can't accidentally succeed in business. You can't. Sometimes the challenge is some people do. It's all like winning the lottery. It's impossible to win the lottery. The problem is someone does every damn day. And they're like, oh, geez, well, I think I'll do what they do. Well, 218 million to one. Good luck. Good luck. I hope it works out for you. In most cases, it doesn't. So that is the one-page business plan. Both of these documents are available to you for download. And I always say it's very difficult to fly the plane of entrepreneurship solo. Very difficult. And some of the clients that I've worked with, it's just been such a magical experience that we've had. And, Jeremy up in Canada, Mike is a wealth of knowledge and a great sounding board. I always say, if you're trying to fly the plane of life, you're trying to grow your business and you got a, $500,000 business, $250,000 business, $100,000 business. If you're trying to take a $500,000 business and get to $1 million, or $1 million business and get to 5 million, it's really, really difficult to do it alone. Why? Because you've never done it before. If you've done it before, it gets easier. This is my friend Josh. He actually, I was talking with him on the phone this morning, and he's so excited. He booked a very expensive vacation to Florida with his 2 little angels. And he sent me a text and said, this is the first time in my life I went on a vacation and did not care about how much money I spent. Like, that's powerful stuff. That's the things that when you build a business the right way, meaning you keep the stuff in focus. It's not all about business. Success in business is not multi-million dollars and you're on your 4th marriage and you don't know your kids and your health is gone. That's not success. And so he had a great experience. My friend Dan, I taught him some of the basic fundamentals. And one of those key things I think that's essential for all of us is this thing that sits on our shoulders. It's the secret sauce to life. We get this thing on our shoulders working, we got a really good chance. This is another, wow, weird. I got an email from Mary Ellen yesterday. She was running a business and she was a client. She's not anymore. She had 3 different companies going nuts. Can't figure out anything that's going on. I said, what do you love? And she figured out that thing that she loves the most. So she built a business all around her taxing experience there. She just launched a new website. Such a beautiful story. Arsam he runs an IT company. And one of the great things about running a business is oftentimes people think, well, if I'm going to grow my business, I need to get more customers. Like I have another workshop coming up in February. So there's only 3 ways to grow a company: increase your average order, increase the frequency of order, increase the number of customers. Increasing the number of customers is the most difficult thing in the entire world of business. If you have customers and they love you and they enjoy working with you and they know, like, and trust you, it's a lot easier to get them to rebuy from you, increase that average order, increase the frequency of order. So there's only 2 ways to learn stuff in life, as I mentioned earlier. Your experience or someone else's. And if it's yours, it takes longer. It usually hurts more. It's more painful. It just becomes a super challenge. So what I wanted to offer up there is, if anyone is interested, I am offering up, and I haven't even done this in any of my other Zoom meetings, a free live Zoom with me if you're interested. And we can talk about your business. We can brainstorm on your business. We can try and see what your business is to the next level. There's a variety of ways that clients can work with me. I can share some of that stuff with you if you're interested. What does Mike do? If your bathroom mirror is your board of advisors, it might be fun to invite Mike to the next meeting.